Okay. This is the book he wrote, Chicken Legs, A Loner's Way. So he's going to tell us what in... Is it recording? Okay. So he's going to tell us what inspired him to go about writing this book. And he told me that it took him 3 years to finish this book. So I think he has an interesting story to tell us about the book. So let's give him a hand. Thank you.
Can you hear me at the back? Must I talk louder? Is that good? Yeah. So you guys all read a lot. Yeah? You read a lot. Okay, I don't read. I don't read anything, but I wrote a book. People find that very strange. But yeah, so I've been doing this a few places, and people always ask me the same questions. I was saying to her, I hope you ask me different questions, because every time I record it, then it's the same questions. But you don't know what the other questions were. So I'm just going to give you a little intro what the book is about. So I'm autistic, so I don't know if anybody who knows here what is autism? Who has a small idea of autism?
Some misfunction in the brain. Not misfunction, it kan only in 'n bietjie
Ja.
Maar daar's iets verkeerd in die brein.
Okay, so
Tekort aan iets.
tekort. I hope I don't look tekort, but okay. Okay, so the thing is, like, autism is a different way the brain is connected. So there's a whole spectrum of autism. You have those that cannot speak. You have those that can speak, like me. But it's just a different way. And we have similarities is that we have sensory issues and we have social issues. That's the two main things. But also you have the whole spectrum, meaning some have high IQ and some have low IQ. It's just like normal people. But in the sensory things like the lights and all that it disturbs me. The touch disturbs me. Everything disturbs me. And eating, I have difficult eating stuff, and I can't sit still. I can't listen. And socially, I don't follow norms. I don't like shaking people's hands. I don't like touching. I don't like going to stuff. I don't say hello. I don't greet. And people think that's rude, but it's just I function differently. And nowadays in the world, there's a huge movement to make this awareness for autism. And I don't know who has watched the series The Good Doctor. So that's autism. I'm like him, or like that guy in the Big Bang Theory, or there's some other series and movies now about it, but still there's a very little information. However, the book is a memoir about me when I was a kid till 17. However, not once in the book do I mention the word autism, because I did not write a manual for autism. I just wrote what was my experience, because I was going through a bad time. Can everybody hear me? I was going through a bad time in my life, and I needed to, because autistic people are prone, like me, to anxiety, stress, depression. We experience the world in extremes. Like me, everything is extreme. Either I'm happy or I'm very sad. I don't have in between. I don't have like one friend that is a good friend and one is like semi-good friend and a half friend. I have friend or no friend. Everything is extreme. So I was going through extreme, like bad time. Especially because I came back from another country and it wasn't happy here in my home city, and so I needed to find out like because I tried to get help, from psychiatry and mental institutions, but people don't understand people like me. So only recently I found the Neurodiversity Center where they understand adults with autism, and before that I went there and they said, "Oh, we can't help you. We don't know what to do with you. And go find someone else." This is from the official psychiatry place, which is very stressful. So I had to find a way to fix myself, because I am a person that goes forward. I know life was never like with people, was not easy for me. So I had to find a way to go forward, and the best way I discovered was to write about a good period in my life, and this supposed to be the good period in my life from 0 till 18 or 17, when I had my mother and my father when they were alive, and I felt I had energy to go forward in life, and I needed to find out what that was to apply it in my bad period. And by thinking about stuff doesn't work, because it just circulates, but when you write it, it becomes very structured, ordered, and so I could find patterns. So that's what I did. I just wrote about. And the second reason I wrote it was also just to I have 3 daughters, and 2 of them are autistic, and I just wanted them to know what my life was like in Cape Town and how I grew up. So I wrote it very detailed. Autistic people tend to have extreme interests. So when I get into something, I can get into it in a really extreme way. So like mathematics is my thing. I'm very good at that. So quite easy. But anything social, like if you go to like family and you must greet them, you must say hello, you must say all that stuff, I can't do that. It doesn't work for me. So but mathematics and physics, and that's very easy. So when I write details, it's very detailed. So the book is quite detailed about how my life was, the communities, everything Cape Town in the 70s and the 80s. So it touches topics like camping, holidays, what the colored people, because I'm colored, what we used to do, and how the apartheid was for an autistic kid. However, what happened afterwards, now some people have read it, and especially in the autistic community and the specialists in autism, even though I never mentioned the word once in the book, those people that know can see it, and they find it very interesting because normally like therapists, that psychologists that work with autistic children that don't speak, the ones that don't speak, they throw tantrums, and that they can see the stuff they are doing, they can see the characteristics. However, they never know what they're really thinking. And for them who read this book, we find it very interesting because they see the same characteristics. However, they can see from the inside of that person's mind how. So that's the main idea of the book. And so, but even if you're not autistic, you find out about Cape Town, how life was, the boycotts, the apartheid, the whole social places and everything from an autistic point of view. So that's basically more or less it. So if there's any questions, I know I talk a lot.
My sister-in-law's sister had a child like that. And when he was very small, when they come and visit with him, then he must remove everything from the table because he chucks everything on the ground. And when we're busy eating, then he just goes past you and just put his hand in your plate and takes a meat or the fish or the potato or whatever out of your plate without asking you. Just goes mad about it. And that is where we came across autism children. Is very active, and you must actually guide him because he can run out of the door into the street under a car. He doesn't care. There's no care over him, and his mother had to run after him every time, and she felt very dismayed because she can't visit people because of him doing that, taking the people's food out of their plate or chucking the things on the ground and thinks nothing about it. But he's now a big boy, but his father went into it to study autism, to find out what it's all about, autism.
And did they find out anything like?
I don't
And
know.
how,
He's way out in
and how is he now? Is he still grabbing stuff just like that?
So he's a big boy already, but I don't know if he's still grabbing things. I
Okay.
haven't seen him for quite some time.
Yeah, so it's exactly that. That is it. People saw him doing these things, but they did not know why he was doing it. And so in the book, you see me doing stuff that's strange, but I kind of give my inside view of it, and that's what they find interesting. I don't like touching hands, and when you go into like in the Muslim community, because I mean, all the men, they want to shake, you must shake their hand, and I just don't like it. It feels bad, the sensory stuff. And if I don't greet them, then I'm rude, I don't fit in, because the problem is that, because like I said, the spectrum is big. You get IQ, some have high IQ, some have low, and some can talk. So I look normal. I mean, like everybody, and I can study. I was clever in school. So why can't you shake hands? You must just try harder and shake the hands, and that is very stressful for someone like me. And like getting awareness now, it can make them like depressed, and it's difficult. So the boy, he would just do stuff. Probably there was reasons for it. So my first thing when I hear about the boy is I'm not trying to fix him, because that's what everybody's like trying to do. Like oh, why is he chucking this? We must fix him. He must behave correctly. What is correct behavior? My mother used to say, if what I'm doing is not something that's going to put me in prison, then why must she be so extreme and correct me just to fit in with people? If I'm not hurting people, if I'm not doing any crime, then leave him. Find out why he's doing it and direct that. And that's the thing what they are trying to do in the world now is to, because autistic people are very focused in what they do and they can do extreme things. Like there are some famous autistic people, like they say, like Einstein and all those people. So that's the movement. So for my first thing with a boy, when I hear it's like I want to know why, because maybe this stuff is like, for me, I'm sitting here and this thing is really bothering me because it's like not straight, So I've learned, okay, you can learn stuff also, but it's totally stressful. So I can understand, like even this, I don't like it here, and my glass is bothering me. So I would sometimes just clear it off and chuck it away. So I would want to see why is he doing that, and not just focus on how to fix him. And most likely the boy is not going to run under the car. I can guarantee you that. And that's what my mother used to leave me, because I was just so active. And especially autistics, we get meltdowns from all the sensory and the disconnect in the society, and it stresses you. So then we get physical, like we need to move and do things. That's why I'm doing this, what you call steaming, to calm me down. So, and we need to be physical. So you're saying he's active. Yes, I was very active. But I would not run under a car, because he knows. Just try to test him once and watch him. But sometimes and the parents don't understand, so they panic and run after them like helicopter parents. But it's not. My mother wasn't like this, because if you read in the book some parts where I just do things, and she had more like understanding and let me be. So my book is like really a dedication to my parents, how they didn't know I was autistic. Firstly, I forgot to mention, I only found out 8 years ago. I just knew my whole life I didn't connect with any humans. I don't understand him, and it's like, oh, he's the outsider, he's like difficult. So I found out 8 years ago that I'm autistic, and my parents didn't know, but they still helped me. So, and I still could achieve, and I could still, because everybody used to say, oh, he's spoiled you. That's why he's like this, he's spoiled, you treated him special and all that. Yes, I was different, so I needed different. I don't know if you have children, you don't treat each child the same. You need to focus on that. Anyway, that is sidetracking, is not a book. But in the book you'll see like that running around and how my mother dealt with it when I was so active and just doing stuff.
Did you go to a normal school?
Yes, I went to a normal school. If I have an interest, and I'm very interested in how to work, okay? And I'm very good at that. So my reason for wanting to go to school was quite simple. I have older siblings, and like 6 years older. So when you're a kid, you like 6 and they're 12, then they don't connect with you. So I always wanted to be in their group. And I was never in the group. They were like, oh, you're a kid, you're difficult, you're different, all that kind of stuff. So they excluded. And they were quite, in my opinion, smart and knew things. So I thought, if I can learn stuff and I can be smart and tell them stuff, then they might accept me in their group. So, and one way for me to learn stuff was school. So that became my interest. I have to go to school to learn stuff so I can be with them. But it never worked. So, but in school it was like learning is easy for me. I don't know. I'm lucky in that sense. Like maths, English, language, everything. I have a kind of a good memory. So it was quite easy. I was a clever kid in school, like top student, whatever, 100% for maths, everything. So it was, but I could not listen to the teachers. I would disrupt the class, jump up and down, walk around, and I would tell the teacher straight, oh, what are you teaching now? It doesn't make sense. I'm not listening to that anymore. I'm leaving now. And then there was always lots of problems with teachers, and I ended up in office a lot. My mother had to come to school, but they could never really, they didn't know. So they didn't, I didn't get any punishment for those things because I was that clever kid. So somehow I found out in school, if you're like a high-performing student, then you get special privileges. And then I would use that. It's like, okay. And they couldn't, because you have kids that disrupt the class that are not doing well, then they were like, oh, problem. But with this one, they didn't want me away. They wanted me there because, and then they would say, oh, put him in another standard, make him higher standard, all that. But I would still disrupt, but nobody knew what was that? I don't listen or jump up and down, make a noise, whatever. But I could.
So what grade did you do?
I finished school, I went to university, I studied, I became an electrical engineer at UCT, and I worked, as an engineer for 20 years in many countries. So like I say, my mother, people say, oh, your mother spoiled you, you're just a brat. I'm saying, no, if you spoil a fruit, then you can't eat it, and you can't fit. And if she spoiled me, then I wouldn't have managed in the world, but I did manage, so she didn't spoil me, she just knew how to deal with me. But everybody, like close family and so, that didn't understand what was happening, would just like, oh, how come you give him that special food, but your other children eat different food? I don't remember the details, all of it, but some of it's in there. But it's just that some food just made me sick, and so I couldn't eat it. But others don't see that. And there's awareness that, you look the same. I can speak English perfect, good, but it's not. It's a difference. But those that know, I have OCD, I'm paranoid, I get hyper stressed out. Yeah.
I've listened one evening, I think it was Tuesday evening, that I heard on the radio about autistic people, they had a talk. And then yesterday going home from the club, on the radio again, the individual lady with an autistic child, and that is why I knew it had something to do with the brain.
Yes.
And,
So there's a lot of always the parents that they interview and the psychiatrists that they interview, but it's never really the autistics that they interview. There's not a lot of them. So that's why in this sense they finding I'm like, okay, some people say I'm like the day walker. I don't know if you watched that movie Blade long ago, and he's a vampire, but he can walk in the daytime. And he's a vampire, he got powers. So they're saying I'm like the day walker. I do the vampire like the autistic stuff, but I can also explain to people what's going on. And there's not many like that. And in Cape Town, I don't know anyone that wrote a book that's autistic. So I think it's some people that know about the field are really hooking onto it now, to my amazement, because I never felt different. To me, it was just me. And now some people are doing that. Yes?
I'm interested to know the title of the book.
The title, yeah. So can you see it from there? It's called Chicken Legs, A Loner's Way. And what happened was I got burnt when I was very small. When I was 4 years old, my cousin accidentally threw petrol onto my trousers while the petrol was flaming, and he threw it and it went on my legs, and then both my legs got severely burnt, and I couldn't walk for a year, and I was bad injured, and that there's a chapter on that in the book. And when I was about 5, 6, it was healed in the sense that I could walk again, but I was wobbling and I couldn't walk properly, and it was huge. The whole legs were covered with scars, and so I wear shorts, and then some children would say, oh, you got your ugly legs, it looked like a burnt chicken, and you look like a leprechaun, and oh, you anyway a weirdo, we can't play with you, you a weirdo, it's like we don't play with you. And that made me feel really bad. And the thing is, was not everybody, but because I'm extreme, like I explained earlier, I focus on negatives because that's what people do always. Wow, you must fit in, you must be like us, you must do this. And it's so difficult for me because I don't understand what people are thinking and why they do stuff, because they function differently. And then, so I hear this from most people, like a few boys, and that I want to play with. And I thought, no, that's not cool for me. They don't want me to play soccer with them or tennis, whatever. And you were like an ugly leprechaun. So I used that to drive me. I said, okay, you don't want me in your game, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to be able to run faster than you, I'm going to study hard, and I'm going to get clever. So if you exclude me, I know I can take care of myself. I don't need your groups, to fit in. Like the social people, like normal people, they're like social humans. That's why give each one coffee and cups of tea, and that's why they'll greet, hello, how are you? And then they just answer, fine, thank you, but it means nothing. And I don't follow that kind of norms. If you ask me, how am I want to explain? If you don't want to listen, then why did you ask me? And I don't understand that's a social norm. So it drove me to be like, to get fast, to get fit, to get strong, to get, know things, because I knew I'm not going to connect with those people, so I need to take care of myself. And so that chicken legs, it drove me. And the second part, the loner's way, because when I started writing, I thought that was my good years, but it was not. So I found out I was an outsider, like a loner. And so that's the title of the book, is just that motivated me my whole life.
Thank you for answering. I sometimes get the feeling of myself because I'm actually quite older.
Yes.
So I get the same feeling sometimes. You don't actually fit in.
You don't fit in, and it's a lonely life, because I feel like, especially now, I find, okay, I'm gonna say some stuff now which is typically autistic. I just say those things others won't say because I don't function like you. So, but I lived in Europe because I'm an engineer. I worked a lot, like technically I'm good, okay? I mean, I'm sound arrogant, but the fact is I can understand how things work. If I'm interested, I figure it out. So I could work. And in Europe, the communities are more, they're not really social communities. Why? Because Europe, especially the country I stayed in, it's quite I would say they have high salaries, everybody, like even cleaners can live next to an engineer, so people are not so socially dependent on the neighbor. So the society is not as social as in Cape Town, whereas in Cape Town, due to history, this is my theory, due to history of long 300 years of all that colonialism and then apartheid, people are generally poor. I mean, like compared to Europe, so they depend on each other, and so the community is very social. Everybody greet each other, everybody know each other. If you need something, they'll come to you, like give up a tomato or sugar. In Switzerland, nobody's going to ask a neighbor for sugar, and so when people greet each other, they form lots of social norms to keep the bond going in the society. So that's why when I came back to Cape Town, I felt more excluded than I was excluded in Europe, because there, to the Europeans, it's not so important to have that social bonding happening because they're independent. But here in Cape Town, in the community that I stay, that's still very strong. Any day someone can be poor, the next day is not working, then it could be anyone, and they understand that, and then they have that social, which I never felt accepted in that communities. So when I don't follow their social stuff, which I can't do by nature, I cannot learn it, it's impossible, then I'm excluded again. But the exclusion I feel from the people towards me is much stronger than I feel it in Europe, because in Europe they don't depend on that social bond, but here they do depend on it. So this is my theory, I don't know if it's correct, so I think that their reaction to someone not accepting them is like they think, oh, I'm not going to be one of them that's going to help them, so they'll exclude me. So I feel less connected here in Cape Town, and this is where I grew up, and most of the book is about that. So
can you say that autism is just the disturbance of the brain? It's got nothing to do with your intelligence.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, you can have a range. Autism is the social, how they understand social.
Just a disturbance.
It's not a disturbance. I don't like to hear that because I don't feel disturbed. You must define disturbance. This is where we get confused. This is how I disconnect with people. I speak, but I don't understand. So you must define to me what you mean by disturbance, because to me that's a negative word, and I don't feel I'm disturbed. What do you mean by disturbance?
I'm not mixed up. Could you follow in a normal school, as this lady asked? Did you have any difficulty understanding?
Just moving it because I see his head is behind the camera.
You went to varsity even?
Yeah.
So
yes.
There was nothing wrong with your intelligence?
No. It's just the social stuff.
Oh, more social.
Social is like everybody shake hands. It's like norms and stuff people could develop in cultures. Like a culture is to say, if someone comes in, you say hello. How are you? And then you just say, fine, thank you, how are you? That's like a greeting, there's no meaning to it. And that's a culture, that is not...
So you didn't fall into that?
I don't fall into that.
Of the normal people?
No, can't do that. Because why can't I? Because it's not... it has no purpose, it's no direction. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me to do that. If you say, how are you? Because that's a word and I'm literal. You say, how are you? I want to answer how I am. I'm not just going to say, how are you? And you know, like, if I don't get it. It makes no sense to me and I will never see the sense in that. And that's why and there's a whole range. But the IQ, like I say, it's a huge IQ. You can have people that can't make it, and you can have people that make it much easier. I saw a program last night, a boy in America at 13 or 14, he's like genius with mathematics, and he's doing all kinds of stuff, but only in the mathematics. Everything else is like, doesn't know how to do it.
I also was thinking of when, okay, you said you were only 8 years ago that you discovered that it was autism that you had. Within our communities, there's still lots of people that doesn't know about their kids having autism. So how is there more awareness now? Because this week is the week about autism.
Yeah.
So is there more awareness, and are there more people out there that will find out that their kids actually have autism and they're not just
difficult
children or stupid children,
yeah,
or acting out or anything of that sort?
They're starting to make awareness, and especially like they try, like some people, it's very small, and that's why they're doing a lot of stuff now in the world. Also, it's only in the last like 5 to 10 years that there's more information. So there's an interesting statistic in America, but I don't know how actual it is. They're saying that 44% of the people in autism have IQ 85 and above. To explain what that means is, if you have an IQ under 85, then in the past, I think, don't quote me, but I think it means you a little bit like slow, you would need a lot of help. You most likely cannot function in the world if you have an IQ under 85. So 44%, according to them, have IQs above, and the rest is 56% have IQs below. But there's a whole irritation in the autistic community, because how do they measure that? But the fact of the matter is that those with the higher IQs, normally they can talk and speak and that, and they are mostly not diagnosed because people think they are normal. And those ones, like, they're just a little strange, they do stuff differently, and some say they're rude, some say they're strange in the corner or whatever. And that is what this group that I was in Durban now and other places, they are trying to make awareness that it's not just the one group. There's a whole, and I'm sure everybody must have someone in their family or someone they know that's a little different. It's like, oh, he's a bit eccentric, and it's most likely that person was autistic and nobody knew. And so that's what, like I said, that's what this group was saying they want me to, because this is one of the first books that's in Cape Town from the other side, so they find it interesting.
They have not special schools for...
So the funniest thing is because like again, for me, I'm not the expert in everything. I was struggling with my life, and then I wrote it. But lately, some have read it, like even the lady here, she called me and said somebody read the book and found it interesting and wants me to come here. So there's like small growth. So I wasn't really checking out what schools there are and all that. But what I did find out now, there's not, in Cape Town, there's no colleges for kids over 18, nothing where they can study. There's help, even the Western Cape Autism from the government, that society, they don't have any assistance for those people with IQ over 85. They only focus on the ones that they think have the lower IQ, that do not talk, that have other stuff connected. So there's not a lot going on. In my opinion, we need both, because lots of autistic people, they're not stupid, they know what's going on, they just communicate differently, and they can do interesting stuff, and the world needs everybody. The social people for the social stuff and make things, and you need the ones who specialize and do things. But there's nothing for adults that I know about. And they just fall off the bus, and then they don't know what to do and how to fit in the world and stuff.
Can I just ask you, I heard you said that you have two daughters?
Yeah.
And both daughters have?
So I actually have 3 daughters, but 2 have autism.
So if anybody perhaps diagnosed that it's in the genes or
hereditary? Yeah, so what they are saying nowadays is that it is genetic, okay? that it runs in families, okay, it's genetic, because in my family, my father's family, there's a few who has autism and diagnosed, so my 2 daughters also have it. However, they both have IQs over 85, so they never stopped them in school and that stuff, but socially it was big problems, and so, but the one doesn't want to be known, so we don't push that, but we know, so she's not gonna go, she's okay, she's like studied and did something. The middle one is a little bit different.
Do you think at colleges, you know, I wasn't a teacher,
Yeah.
but to inform students at colleges to be aware of this matter that we are busy talking about, autism.
Yeah.
Because in your career of teaching, you get difficult problems with different children because we are not the same. And sometimes, if the teachers are not aware of this autism, then they'll just reject a child like that.
Yes.
And it makes a difference to a child. Because you said, you're much older now, of course. You only discovered this 8 years ago.
Yes.
But if teachers were aware of this autism, they would approach that child perhaps differently.
Yeah.
So don't you think what you are saying to us now should be said at the college or at varsity?
Yes.
So that they have a better understanding of what's going on. Because teachers are there to prepare a child for the future so that they can become independent citizens of the country. So they must be prepared and they must be helped. Say like if you talk to us, we are elderly people, but if you talk to the students at the college or at varsity, it would mean a lot to them to prepare them for the future in their career as teachers.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I agree.
What I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Can I just, before I answer, I'm just going to move the camera because this is also my OCD stuff hitting. Because you're sitting in front of it and I don't know if it can see me. Just moving it a little. Sorry. I get so fixated. That's a typical. But I heard your question. I'm going to answer it because he's like in line. Sorry. But so yes. So you were saying that yes, we are elderly people, but it's very important to speak to the colleges and universities and the learners. Yes. And that's what I've been trying. I've been trying this. I phoned schools because I started with my school where I went to primary school. I approached the principal. I said, okay, I found out I'm autistic. And in here is a story of how the teachers, mistreated me because I was difficult.
Don't you think you must go to a little bit above a principal or above a...
But I have no...
A little bit...
I agree with... What's your name?
Denzel.
Denzel, I agree with you. The problem, Denzel, is I am nobody. I have no influence. I know nobody. I have no social connections. So that's the whole problem. I've never been accepted by people. So I have no influence. But it's just slowly, some people see it like you now, and maybe you have influence and you can connect me and to others that have influence, then I can do it. And like
they act differently.
Yes.
Because some of them have got reading problems. It's such a wide if you must talk to the people in the department, there's some sort of think about this whole case of autism, because a teacher must be prepared to see whatever child needs, because we are all different. And at my age, I'm almost 82. I've been in the teaching for quite a while. And what I realize now is that things that happened in my career as a teacher that I didn't fully understand all the children, because, as I said, they're all different. And we as a mixed nation here, especially in the Poland, in our culture, we are quite different to other people. And if you can get to the department, and not to the inspector only, people that sort of work out our careers and whatever, there must be a need to educate students for their careers.
Exactly.
They can see what's wrong with what they will do.
Yeah. So I'll say again that the thing is, I don't have connection, and I have tried to talk to people like that, and they just they don't pick up their phones, they don't listen. You write emails, it never gets responded to. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying, wherever people invite me and I go talk. I approach schools, they're not interested. I went to one school, and so it's difficult, because I'm nobody. That's the thing. If I nobody's and I'm not people friendly. So when I approach people, they're like, "Oh, you're approaching me in a weird way, in a difficult way. I can't speak as nicely as the others. I don't know how to talk to." I speak English and all that, but I'm very direct and it's difficult, and most feel offended when I start talking, and then it's like, "Oh, okay, not interested, okay, yes," and they follow so it's difficult. But I agree with you, and that's what must happen, because it is a story in the book where I was grade 6, standard 4, and I was good in class, but I couldn't handle the teacher who was our class teacher, and she was the maths teacher also, I think, and the way she was teaching, it didn't work for me, and then she would focus, because I would talk and say stuff, and then she'd focus on me, and eventually every problem that happened in class was my fault. And then she kicked me out of class once, but that was okay for me. Like lots of teachers, they always kick me out. We do disturbing everybody, go. So I get out, go, and I run around and play. For me, that was fun. I didn't care, because I was directed, and I knew I go home, I get my stuff done, I pass the exam, still top in class. It's irrelevant to me. I'll have fun. But what she did was, she kicked me out of class, and when I wrote a test, she refused to mark my papers. And then I said, that's the issue, because now she's going to make me fail. And then I went and see that if that teacher knew what this kid was about, she would have treated me differently and not just kick me out like that. But I went to the principal, and my mother came to school, and they talked about it, and they agreed the teacher needs to learn like you about this thing, but they didn't know what to learn about, what it was. And
the teachers, even the principals, their vision can be limited.
Yes.
Presently, our country has got a problem. They discovered that their children can't read, even up to grade 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was a standard 5, grade 7. Before the children had to go to the high school, you must see that children spell, read properly and fluently. They closed the colleges, Oudtshoorn, Bellville, wherever, which is a great mistake. They want everybody to have a degree. People who've got a degree, they can't even spell their own names. But down in the primary school, if you don't have that foundation correctly, you can't build on sand, you build on solid rock.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't start here at the bottom, now they've got the problem, children can't read. But if a child leaves the primary school, they go to the high school, they must be able to read fluently. But today, you know what they try? They try to push children through an exam, but the children don't have the background. They concentrate on the results. What they say, oh, we've got a 90% pass. That's not teaching, getting children through an exam. That's not.
And nowadays they have 4 exams. It's crazy. I don't know all that learning. There's no. So for me to that is what the thing is. Learning methods. The whole system must be like upgraded or something. But I'm writing about something like that in the second book. But I come back to my first statement. I don't have influence. So I wish. I never thought that my ideas would be something that somebody want to listen to. You know, I never thought so. When I read the book, I wrote it for me. I never wrote it for autism, for the community. I didn't write it for them. I wrote it for me. But they are seeing some things now, and they see, what they see is that, oh, you were difficult, but you managed. I became an engineer. I worked 20 years as a consultant in many countries. So, and they're like, wow, how did you do that? So, and they can see I was like that. But yes, the whole system, education is a difficult situation for the masses. However, I can just talk for the autistic, my way of autism. Everybody's different. They say you meet one autistic person, you met one autistic person, they're all different. So I can talk about what would be good for me as a learning strategy, you know, how to focus and do things. And I'm sure I can't talk for everybody else, but yes, I agree, we need to. That's the awareness that I was mentioned at the start, to make that kind of awareness. And
you must be a frustrated person.
But people, and I'm so frustrated, especially the closest people to me, they always know better. But they know, we know what you are. Even my closest brothers, they still don't accept that I'm autistic. They're like, no. And cousins, they know, no, you're just a brat. But I was like, I'm a brat, I'm spoiled, but I managed in the world. And I managed more than a lot of them. So how am I spoiled? I'm not chucked away like a rotten banana. So it's just different, and that you need to fix that up. So I don't know how, but I'm just talking. I talk to you. We never know who's important here that I know somebody. For example, last time I spoke in a library in Pinelands, and one lady there knew some people, and she introduced me to the people in Durban. So I don't know where's it gonna go, who's gonna do what, but for me, I just go ahead. I need to do what's good for me, and although I've never been a happy person with society and people, I'm only happy when I do the things I like, and then I'm okay. But I still go forward, because even though I'm not happy, I need to live in this world. I need to make food. I need to go on. And we need to help the others also, because everybody wants to live and go on and go forward. I mean, I think so, even normal people. Am I wrong about that? No. So.
Can I just say that again too? It was good for us as seniors to hear what you have to say, because like you say, there might be one of us that knows somebody up there that can.
Or maybe not. It doesn't matter as long as you heard it. That's my important.
For me personally to hear it, I might meet up with somebody that has a child like that, or children like that,
or adults in their family like that.
That I've heard today. So it's always good to hear some people talk about their experiences, and then you can go out again and tell others.
Yes.
That's why I like to listen or hear about things, so that I can go out and teach somebody else about what I've learned along the way.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
So all the incidents that I had with children, that like Hansie van Vogel, couldn't read, but their names got stuck. Even if it's 30, 40 years ago, I still remember that person's name. Here in Raymond's a guy, from his speech and his action, I could see. And you recall that problem, but you didn't know quite what happened, what caused that, because you couldn't put your finger onto that. You see, so you must start right at the top.
Yeah.
Because they're not always right. The department's not always.
Yeah, I always say that. Like even like people always when like yesterday I was at this place and official place and I had to get something done and there's like, oh, we do it like this. This is the law in our you know, in our business we follow this and everybody does it like this and all that. I say, oh well, the law in your company is made by people, and that they can change their mind once they see new information. And even this country, the law has changed in 1994. I mean, before that, everybody was, yes, it's correct. The law says you are darker than that one and you are worse than that one, and that was incorrect law. So that's the problem. People, I find it like humans, they like to follow, you know, and this is where autistics, we don't follow social stuff. We don't follow what the majority is saying. We just follow what makes sense to us, finished. And that's what I think people need there, because if everybody's just following the herd and nobody's thinking a little bit outside of it, then that herd might just all walk over the edge and fall dead. But if one guy's like, hey, the herd is going to the edge, and they're seeing, but there's the edge, why are you not turning? No, everybody's walking that way, and he can like see, no, we're walking the wrong way. He can go out and run and tell them, hey, stop, turn around, walk that way. But that's why it's important to have like the autistics, my opinion, because they don't follow the rules, they don't follow the majority, they just do what they think is right. And they look and observe and follow, which is, so although we're like a minority, it's only 2% apparently is autistic, 98% is normal, but I think everybody's needed. And yes, but I don't have the power to change that, so I'm talking to you guys, and if one or two heard something, then I'm happy, and that makes me go forward. And that's what I learned from my book, because in life it was, in my book you can see a lot of times the society, the people, all the culture stopped me from being happy, for doing what I wanted to do, just stopped me. And so what did I do? I just did small things, and I felt good that I could do small things for myself. Like I teach myself to tie my shoelaces or to play marbles, and I can play alone. Nobody want to play with me, I will play marbles alone. And those small things kept me going. So yes, so my small thing is I just talk to you guys, and if one got it, great. And that's good for me. Save one, save the world.
Can I ask you, are you on social media?
Yes, I started doing social media because when I wrote a book, I self-published. I'm not via a publisher. I did not want to use a publisher because they dictate what you must write. And I didn't want to have that. And the secondary part is they take 90% of the money. And I didn't want that either. But for me, it wasn't the money. It was I wanted to write what I wanted to write.
And I want to actually diverse your...
Yes, so if you Google my name like that, you'll find I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel also. Because I started doing that for me to market my book afterwards. But when I wrote it first and nobody read it yet, I didn't market anything. Because, like I said, I didn't write it for people. But after some people read it and liked it, I thought, okay, if one person liked it, there's possibility that maybe others will. So then I started to make my videos, how I see the world, and just talk about it. So I have a channel. So now that's why I'm recording this. So I'll put this on the same channel, and then it will play, and maybe others will see it.
Where do we get your link?
Yeah, it's my. You must just type my name, Muhammad Salih, like I spell it. You'll see some stuff now because I was in some newspaper articles and things. And you can go onto YouTube, my link is called Autism from Cape Town or something like that. That's my Yeah, I called my channel there, something like that. But if you don't, you can just put my name and we'll pick it up. And there's Facebook and Instagram and some newspaper articles where you can find.
Is your surname Salih?
Yes, Salih. But you must spell it like this. It's written on the book. Later when you finish, we can check it. Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Mr. Michael Lacordia was
Yeah.
at Stellenbosch professor.
Yeah. I don't know him.
No, he-
Yeah.
Stellenbosch University.
Okay.
From Wellington.
Yeah.
My mother was a midwife. She called him as a baby. I would love to have your phone number.
Yes, we can. I'll give it to you afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a card, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to talk to him.
Okay.
He is professor at Stellenbosch.
See, one person that knows somebody. Yes. I don't know him. That's good. Thank you.
He's from Wellington, he's Lacordia, Michael. I used to know his father too and so She was a bit wild.
Yeah.
She's from Umtata.
Umtata.
Don't you worry. She's called. Now I would love just to make contact with him, just to bring this autism to his mind, just to talk to him.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, sorry, I sometimes can't focus so long. The thing with autism, with people like me who was a little higher, like normal IQ ranges that can function, if they are misunderstood continuously by society, okay, and made, because we are like extreme, so if you like, at least me, I'm extreme, if you negative to me, I take it really hard, it affects me badly, and if somebody like really extreme, like everybody's affected by negative comments, but the extremity is different, and I'm like really extreme. Okay, you don't see that now, but if we interact for a while, you'll see it, and I can be very honest. So if somebody like that who struggles to understand, because autism, we struggle to understand the feelings of others. Okay, I can't put me in your shoes. I don't understand how to do that. So but all I see is you being nasty to me. So what I'm going to do, natural instinct says to you, you must defend yourself. So these people, if they're not understood, if people continuously treating badly, and they can be very smart, and then they feel they must defend all the time, they can maybe do some strange things. Like I have thought of stuff already, okay, but lucky for me, I had my mother, which in the book was always on my side and taught me consequence. But not everybody has this luck to have consequence and know that can be bad for you if it continue. But it could be a difficult that this outside everybody make them, and then they go crazy, they explode, and if we direct them, or everybody, if we know about it, we can direct them nicely, like my mother directed me, and I am not spoiled. I can take care of myself. I never needed financial help from anybody because I did it myself from the start. I was directed, like really extreme directed, right from 5 years old, and never stopped. And if you can direct people like this in that small group, they could maybe do nice things. That's just my opinion. Don't know if it makes sense to you.
So what is your book pricing at?
So it's 300 Rand now, and she said, well, it's expensive, but it's the standard price of books like this in the bookshops. In the bookshop, it will cost more. Okay, it's in one bookshop in town, it costs more than that. So that's the pricing, because I had it lower before, and then someone said to me, no, that's too low, because if you put it too low, then they think it's not worth it. So and I don't understand that marketing, how people work, but so that's the price now, 300.
And we can actually get through YouTube.
Yes, or you can take a knife if you want. It's here. Okay. Yeah, and there's an ebook. I don't know if you know what yeah, ebooks is cheaper, so you can just download the ebook, and I can give you the link.
Okay, also on the same title.
Yeah, the same book. It's the same book. It's on ebook, like Amazon or different media.
So how much is the
I've got a friend that she's in a different club.
Yeah.
Perhaps they don't know.
Yeah.
I think you heard about the Protea.
No.
Oh, but yeah.
Senior citizen, they're more physical than us.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I've got somebody there that will be very interested to bring you over to them.
So the ebook, she asked how much the ebook. It depends which site you're gonna buy it from, but I think it's ranging like about $12 or something, like American dollars. But the rand dropped, but the rand came back last 2 days again. It recovered slightly, so it's like that. We can't control the rand price.